I received my tax bill yesterday. I was not happy. As always, I'm kind of tight with my dollars because I like to give it back to my community. Seeing that there's a vote coming up tonight on number 19 about giving the school, whatever you want to call it, free funding or whatever, is ridiculous. And another thing, as being an openly gay man in this city and having a partner of 7 years, I hate to see a drag queen show in any public school, public library. That is disgusting. Drag queen shows belong in bars, nightclubs, or whatever else in private places, not to show our kids. If you've been to a drag queen show, you know they're not very PG. They're disgusting. That's it. Thank you, and have a good evening, and thank you for your service.
I'd like to set fire to this dump.
Just because we're pretty, everybody's jealous. It's like a prison here. We'll probably get caught for hooking this period, but who cares? Who cares if we fail? It'd be fun to be expelled.
I hope I get arrested. I hate this school and all these ignorant teachers who don't know one thing. I'm the one who should be teaching. I hate my parents, too. Thank you from the bottom of my black little heart. You came here for some excitement tonight, and that's just what you're going to get. Take a good look at me, because I'm going to be on the front of every newspaper in this country tomorrow. You're looking at crime personified, and don't you forget it! And I'm beautiful, I can't stand it myself! Everybody breathe. Who wants to be famous? Who wants to die for art? I do!
Well, hello and welcome to Ward 13 with Jon Hopwood. We're live today with my special guest, Kyle Clayton.
Hey, how are you?
Kyle, have you been down to City Hall?
I live down the street, so I have not personally been there, but I heard you're doing some big things.
You haven't signed up for office? You're not going to run for anything?
It didn't work out too well last time, John.
Well, that was a write-in campaign, and we did start it a little late.
2 days before.
Yes, it was, and you did get 38 votes, another 12. If we'd started it a week before, you'd have been on the ballot.
All right, well, we'll start it again.
And you'd know what it's like to be...
It's fine. It's fine.
So, tell us, what's up?
I've been working down at the beautiful Puritan back room, downstairs, doing radio stuff.
So you're still on the radio show?
Yeah, everyone keeps saying that. Yeah, I slept in a couple days. I'm not gone, and yeah, I'm absolutely still there. I did 2 shows yesterday.
How could you do 2 shows?
I did the morning show with Peter White.
Yeah.
And then I did Matt Connerton Unleashed.
Did he recruit you?
No, my buddy actually he was in the band that was playing. Matt's doing this new thing where he.
Right, every the second hour is music, which makes him he's much more happy. Rather than just death surfing.
Exactly, and it's an incredible band, very one of the most original bands in the New England area, the
Tell
Trichomes.
us about them.
The Trichomes. I could not describe them if I wanted to. They're all spectrums of
Is there a
Whatever you
good-looking
want.
woman in the band, or even any?
if Ian
we can use
if
that
Ian
for-
puts his hair down, yeah, he's a very good looking.
woman?
He's a pretty guy.
Oh,
But
are
no,
we
there's
back
no
to
woman. No.
trans talk now.
No, it's not trans talk at all. No, he's got dreadlocks, but no, it's
Well, good-looking guys usually like.
you never know until you try, John.
I was with correspondent Vianon, and we smoked some substance, nothing illegal in California. It would have been several years before. And we'd known each other for a long time, and we're very close. But she took a good look at me and said, "Why couldn't you look like Jim Morrison?" Now here you are, you're stoned because I don't smoke much, and
I don't either, actually.
What's your response to that?
Well, compliments. I look like I smoke a lot. I don't actually.
No, but if this
I mean,
woman and
why don't I look like Jim Morrison?
I was
Because-
in love with her at one time. Well, we keep 3,200 miles between us, but she took a good look at me. Because this is a type of like sinsemia, that really gets you thinking about things. And she said, "Why couldn't you look like Jim Morrison?"
Statistically, only one person looks like. I don't
That's
know the percentage. I don't know.
I said to her, "If I'd be dead."
If Jim Morrison had the brain of Jon Hopwood,
He would not.
Unbeatable.
He wouldn't be. He'd have been
Unbeatable.
unknown. I met people when I was out in L.A. Reporting on things. I met people that had known him and said he was a real prick. But you're young, you're a rock star, you're handsome,
Yeah, you're just
you've got all this
pretentious.
dope.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be that way at 25, 26, 27
I
years
would
old?
I would be conceited as well. Absolutely.
Well, I'm conceited anyways, and I look like Mr. Magoo. Does your generation know Mr. Magoo?
I do, Mr. Magoo. I think he just came out with a new movie on
About
Netflix.
Magoo?
Am I wrong?
Brendan, is this right? Is Mr. Magoo on Quran again?
Am I mixing
I can
people
take
up?
off
It's
my
it's
hat
me
now.
versus Mr. B on Netflix. If you can look that up, I don't know if it's Mr. Magoo. It's
Brendan's abandoned us.
That's all right. I can do a quick Google, but
Do you know who Mr. Magoo is, Brendan?
no, not
Oh,
Leslie.
Jesus
No,
Christ,
I'm
that
talking
ball.
about of
2 Oscar-winning cartoons. He was hot
is it
stuff in his-
Ashton or
It was Jim Backus who played Thurston Howell III, the billionaire on Gilligan's Island.
oh yeah.
I mean, I don't understand how you can even hang there with Peter White if you're not a Thurston Howell fan. Gilligan's Island.
I do a lot of behind the scenes things to help him so I can or help me so I can
Does
hang out
Peter
with him.
still have the towel boy under the desk?
I've been downgraded to Towel Boy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the old man.
Who am I thinking of? Not Mr. Magoo. I'm thinking of Mr. Bean. That's on me.
Who's Mr. B?
Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean.
Oh, you mean that guy, that actor,
Yes.
live actor?
No, he's a real person.
Can we find? We can't really find Mr. Well, you could look Mr. Magoo up.
Yeah, I know, but I had this problem with Matt's show yesterday. I can't get service. My phone doesn't work in this building anymore.
It doesn't. Let me see if mine does. I bet mine doesn't either. Exciting TV. Uh-oh, look at. I have to move.
Do we?
Yes. Hey, is there any news about? I saw Glenn R.J. Ouellette at City Hall yesterday, and he looked. He made a very good speech about senior citizens and homelessness.
Mm-hmm. No, he's passionate about what he talks about. Absolutely.
And I felt kind of sad that he's no longer part of the no longer part of the crew. Hey, we don't. Oh yes.
That's that might.
Yeah, does this work? Please don't what?
Done.
Am I yelling into it? Or is Kyle?
I thought I was talking normal. It's fine. I won't yell. I promise.
But Kyle couldn't see that. Just tell us what was going on, Brendan.
And then you did this to her. Can you hear me now?
Is that me? Don't do that. Okay. I know. I moved away, and I moved away from the microphone. This is what live TV is all about. Isn't it exciting?
I love being here every time.
Well, you've been. I haven't been doing many shows.
Yeah, I gathered that, and I've been on a bit of hiatus myself up here. So, last time
Yeah.
you told me to come here, you didn't show up.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's how other permanent guest, Eric Pilcher, who seems to drive he drives Gonzo crazy. But everybody I've ever had on drives Gonzo crazy because Gonzo wants to show big about him. He got poached by Matt Connerton.
Who
because
did? Oh yeah,
Eric's only on Wednesday.
Probably on right now.
Right. He'll go on, in about 3 minutes.
I truly like Eric. I think he does his research. I think he does a very good job.
But how can I complain that he poached Eric when, I send in all these files to Brendan and people are supposed to do the show and I don't show up?
You can't.
That's right.
You can't complain.
But I am going to be on 2 more weeks in a row because I got guests who are
Who you got?
Patrick Long and Patrick Long. The irony is we have 2 people named Patrick Long running for alderman in Manchester. There is Alderman Patrick Long, and then there's Patrick Long who's running for alderman.
So an incumbent
But both my guests are Patrick Long, who's running for alderman, who isn't an alderman yet.
Okay, so no incumbents.
Right. I figured, I figured Gonzo wouldn't show up either show, so I haven't informed them that that's a possibility.
Oh, I yelled at him already. I was like, I know you're. It's like clockwork. No, don't let him
He's
use
a
the kids thing.
house
No. I understand that, but it's not about the kids.
What's it about? Are you 2 feuding?
No, he just uses it as an excuse.
And then he gets mad when I don't ask him to be on the show.
Well, at one time, John, there was an assumption that we'd be on every day, and then
You can come
there was
on
a
every
hiatus.
week.
I appreciate that, and I can, and I will.
But,
From here forward,
there was, we don't want to go into it because I understand it's no longer available on video. But that was that Contra Tom, I was talking, remember when I was out there doing Army drill calls on Elm Street, which that gets me back into the Army. And then there was the tequila and,
Do the math.
Flashback City.
Yep, do the math, PTSD, yep.
Yeah, that was a memorable time. I heard about it. I don't ever want to hear
You don't have to relive that. It's all right. It's all right.
It's like, holy Christ. It's like, I know this happens. But see, now you guys know. You've seen it.
Oh, it's all good, but
It's like, what had happened to you and Peter White? And I remember I'd say, he'd seen me in PTSD too many times.
I don't. I love the morning show. That's all I'm gonna say. But there's when I plan accordingly, and then people kind of back out at the last second, and I have no plans. I just come here to help you guys, and now we have this. So it's
You guys,
it's fine. But
you can host the show every second week if you want to. I always thought it'd be good for you and Mikey Martineau, and I would say Gonzo because Gonzo doesn't want to share the mic with Mikey to do a sports show.
I'm not sure why he's so opposed to Mikey.
He doesn't like the competition. He didn't like Eric Pilcher. He didn't like Mikey. I brought the transsexual guy on twice. He was mad about that.
He's got a name though.
He's mad about everybody.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but at the last second, I cannot construct a whole script in a.
Well, Brendan, how many times has Gonzo going to be on the show and didn't show up? This is even before you, Kyle.
I don't have enough figures to do that.
Right,
but-
you even an octopus working overtime couldn't count them.
Well, I have more fingers than an octopus does tentacles.
But you do not have that. Is it called stylus on their 8th?
I know they have
That's
hooks
how they
and stuff.
impregnate. The male octopus impregnates the female. It has the 8th leg is stylized, and we'll leave it at that because this is.
I get a
this
picture.
isn't late
Yeah,
at night,
that's
no.
fine.
Octopi are very hot right now.
I don't trust octopi at all.
Do
They're concerningly smart. Have you watched any of the documentaries on Netflix or anything? They can get through any nook and crevice. They can solve puzzles. They watch people and memorize their patterns.
They can get out of anything.
Anything. They have hooks, suction cups, 8 tentacles. I don't trust octopus. Look me in the eye. I don't trust octopus. No, sir. Octopi. Well, not a singular puss or pie. Don't trust them.
Did you ever read John Steinbeck's sequel to Cannery Row, which is called Sweet Thursday, where Doc the oceanographer, is studying octopi?
I'm going to shock you and say I have not read that.
Well, everybody of my generation had to read Cannery Row, but
Can you give me a brief synopsis on it?
well, he was studying octopi because he thought that they mimicked human emotions.
It's weird.
And it was actually Doc in Cannery Row and Sweet Thursday is based on Ed Ricketts, who was a oceanographer who was way ahead of his time.
Right.
He believed in ecology. The famous thing about Ed Ricketts, they used to, Monterey, where I've lived 3 times in my life, and I'd like to be back there soon, Monterey is famous for its canneries and for the sardines. But the canneries all closed down in 1946 because there were no sardines anymore. Because during World War II...
No, because nobody likes sardines, John.
No,
That's what it comes down
no,
to.
People do like sardines.
They're the
particularly if you
little
date a
fish with
European.
the bones are still in there. It's weird.
Europeans love that type
All right,
of stuff.
I apologize. I'm ignorant.
But they lifted the quota, and then they just wiped out the fishery, in order because they wanted the food supply for the military. And they asked Ed Ricketts, where are the sardines? He says, they're in the cans.
That's where they are.
Because that's what, when they did a similar thing to the lobster, everybody just goes out and you
The
wipe
cockroaches of the
lobster
sea.
cans.
Yeah, now everyone loves them. But sardines in a can, they have an obscene amount of salt covered on top of them. It's almost a film like. It doesn't look enticing.
That's how they used to preserve them in salt.
I understand the preserving, but it's 2023 now. You don't have to eat preserved little fish.
You don't like herring?
I've never had a herring. I never eat seafood until the last 2 years. My mom's deathly allergic, and I've been chipping away at it. I think calamari is probably my favorite that I've tried so far, but I think they're all substantially overrated. I don't know why it's market price. I wouldn't pay $20 to go get a scallop plate or a clam. It's
Oh my God!
it's not that good.
Clams. If I was going to be executed, I would have a plate of fried clams, full-bellied clams.
I've had that conversation. What would
and
yeah
they
you're
explode. The belly explodes right in your mouth.
yeah
when you're
juicy
eating it.
juicy belly. I
When
get
I was
that.
a kid, that used to disgust me because I hated that. Your parents would take.
It-
They used to play a place called Armin's that became the Clam King, which I would go to the Clam King when I'd come visit here to see my mother.
Is that on the west
doing
side?
Journalism. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And there'd be people there. I remember my brother was in me. He'd come in from England, and there's a guy from Florida. He says, "Oh, I always come here when I come up to Manchester. It's got the best clams in the world," and it did.
What is your death row meal like if you could pick?
I would have. Well, it depends on how much they'd give you.
No,
I
if
would
you
like,
if you anything. No
Whole clams fried.
from where?
Well, obviously from New England waters. Nothing's better
okay,
than that.
just
Did you ever
checking.
have a quahog from out in the Pacific? Not the same thing.
No, I'm still learning, but I've figured that out hypothetically. If I do, I would never commit a crime to get to that situation. But
We could
you
call
have
it-
to think about that.
I wonder if we should call it Vika. She runs it. She has a fish restaurant.
You could call Vika, but I
And,
just want to know
yeah,
what your
she
last
might,
meal would be.
She might be mad at me.
Yeah, we can win her back.
But, well, that's what Joel always said. And Joel hasn't been on for a long time. And, yeah. Well, what were we talking about?
Yeah, you got
I'd have
clams?
shrimp, too.
Okay.
Deep fried shrimp.
From where? though?
French fries. Well,
You gotta
New England
specify.
waters. And I'd have a slice of cherry pie.
Cherry pie. Okay.
Depends on what else they give you. Whiskey. Yeah. I
A la
eat
mode?
myself to death.
Would you have ice cream with your cherry pie?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. Fair enough.
I wouldn't. And since I wouldn't care, so if I eat cherry pie now, my teeth hurt.
Yeah, but I
They
mean,
really hurt.
it doesn't hurt after the.
I haven't gone to the dentist because of COVID.
Oh,
And
mine's
I have
mine.
insurance, and I realize I'm just a dental coward. So I'm ready to go, but
You gotta
I just
get it
don't
done.
Like to go.
It
I
gets-
just don't like to go to the
it-
dentist.
Teeth are the things that like really don't heal themselves. You're not gonna get them back. You gotta.
I believe that you can. In 10 years, they've got made a breakthrough that you can regrow teeth. Of course, I'll be 73, and
I'll be a strong 42
42.
in 10 years. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, hypothetically in 10 years. But right now, yeah, it hurts. But if again, we're talking specifically death row. So you got cherry pie, clams, fried shrimp, and French fries. Yeah, it's not a bad lineup.
I wonder how they'd execute me though. I'd like to go. Wouldn't want to be injected. I'd like to go in the gas chamber.
I'm terribly afraid of needles.
I'm not, but
I mean, to each their own. That's a fair question, though.
I can imagine though when you're like going to be executed. You know how when you go like to give blood at my age, you have to, they're taking blood all the time because of my maladies. And some people have a really nice touch. Some others don't. They call them phlebotomists.
Correct.
And I can imagine some prison guard doing it to you. It'd be a real SOB.
They kind of, they don't care. I mean, you're going out anyway, but...
But the lethal gas chamber, I grew up on the electric chair and the lethal gas chamber. In Dragnet, the old black and white one, everybody was executed. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber.
I think it's more the...
Just breathe in.
It's just exactly, the time in waiting for it. That would give me the most anxiety.
Firing squad would be something.
Yeah,
but that's so...
We can do a stoning, too, if we're going to go back that far.
Hope they don't hit you in the heart, right?
I mean, whatever speeds the process up, but...
I wouldn't want to do the guillotine. I guess your head lives on after that.
Yeah, you give them a wink on the way out. That's
Right.
fine.
Hanging's pretty brutal, particularly if they don't hang you properly, because it's supposed to break your neck on the drop, but sometimes you just strangle. At Nuremberg, the chief hangman was a master sergeant in the U.S. Army whose unit, he belonged to the unit, part of his division had been massacred by the Nazis. So he made sure when he executed the top Nazis that the rope was loose. So it took 20 to 25 minutes for them to die.
Yeah, that's more of a strangling, yeah.
To pay them back. And it was kind of a scandal that never came out until like 20, 30 years
It's
later.
kind of I guess a borderline war crime because of...
Well,
Well, I know,
we're talking about people that killed.
I understand
tens of
that. I
millions of
understand
people.
that. I'm not in the position to say anything, but there has been a couple of people that have lived through their initial
I think that it was
death sentence, and then someone actually tried to sue and claim that he already
right, but
did
they
his time.
That was an electric chair malfunction.
and he
so-
survived. He said, "I did
and
my
they
time."
executed them anyway. Again.
Yeah, they doubled down, but anyway, I was
That's
just trying to
a-
figure out what your last meal would be. Brandon, what would be your last meal?
Leave me out of the show.
Okay. I would do
What would yours be?
steak and cheese from Old Pappy's, not New Pappy's.
Okay, yeah, that would be something.
Have not been there. The new one rather. Maybe.
It's under new management.
Yeah. Oh, that.
Are
Where
they
you
Greeks?
been? I couldn't tell you what their
I know that it
nationality
got
is.
closed and then it opened again.
Oh no, it wasn't closed. They thoroughly bought it out. They redid it. I would say 2 slices of French toast. A huge French toast guy. And
With a steak and cheese?
it's I'm just
Well,
gonna
you're gonna die.
Yeah,
right?
do it all at once, and then maybe coffee Oreo frap and 2
Crap, there we go.
disgusting tacos from Taco Bell. Yep, that's what I'm gonna run with.
Taco Bell, though, really.
It's fine. I like the
disgusting.
grease.
I don't know if they have Jack in the Box in New England, but those were disgusting.
I don't think we do.
They don't even have meat in them. You get 2 for $1.
That's
Deep fried.
not something that happens anymore. There's no dollar menu anymore. Anywhere.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a value menu, and it's not that valuable anymore. You go to the store, you can make all the things you need for half the price instead of going. I mean, I understand the laziness, but
Yeah, fast food. It's
it's not cheap anymore.
But at Taco Bell, they got
it's not real
$1.50
meat.
menu.
I'll take $1.50. That's fine. But
They've got that cheesy, ricey burrito.
I want some meat though. Cheese and rice, that's fine. But a bag of rice and a bag of beans, you could feed yourself for a month. Same price.
Well,
Easy.
that's the idea behind food stamps. Mine got cut.
How you handling that?
Well, I'm retired, so that's why everything got cut. I'm now a retired person.
Isn't that the point of like your benefits though? Don't they give you benefits to?
I'm on Social Security.
Oh, there you go,
I
okay.
retired because my military benefits are so pitiful.
That's fair. I mean, it's not fair for you, but
Well, I
What are you
always
gonna do?
expected I'd get screwed by the Army and the DA. Well, it's the VBA, the Veterans Benefit Administration. They all lose your records, or they just deny you and deny you and deny you. Then looks like the guy up the VA. The guy's 78 years old. They finally admit, he has Agent Orange, and they make him 100%, but then he dies.
Well, if you could support him for 2 weeks, but yeah, Agent Orange,
There's something
not
about
ideal.
it's just built into any bureaucratic system that you just deny. Deny, deny, deny.
That sounds like my ex-girlfriend.
Is she not? Is this the new girlfriend, or is this your old girlfriend?
Yes, to both.
So you do have a new girlfriend.
I am a free man, John. I'm married to the radio game and the WMNH. That's my girlfriend.
Were you boxed out financially?
No, I work.
Yeah, but
I'm fine. No, I have my own place. No, I'm fine.
Women they like the better things in life.
Yeah, I can't provide that for them.
I was with a woman. We're driving around in a 1972 Chevelle, a Chevy. It was called the Chevy Chevelle Malibu, and it was kind of a classic. But her husband, she's had 3. He gave her a Porsche, And I wasn't going to be able to give her a Porsche.
A Malibu is not a Porsche.
Well, this is also a different time frame.
That's the game we play in this life.
I liked old Detroit Iron, and I'm driving around in this old
Good old cast iron. I get that, but yeah, there's always some kind of upgrade, but I'm pretty straightforward what I bring to the table, and it's free chicken tenders at the end of the night, and that's pretty much it.
That's how that's your seduction
Yeah,
plan, chicken tenders?
I got not a lot at
Do
the
you
table
bring
anymore.
them home, or do they have to come to the
No,
restaurant?
I'm not gonna. No, I can bring them home. Oh, I cook them at the work and bring them home. Yeah,
I don't
I'm not,
I don't mean to pry now.
You can
but
pry,
as
absolutely.
The one or two of the last dames that you've been with, is this a dumpster baby song type of scenario?
No,
They didn't work there?
no, it's just. Oh no, I've worked with. I don't forget the phrase, but don't something where you work or eat, and
But a
I'm
lot of people
notorious
meet
with that.
their significant other at the workplace,
Yep.
which nowadays, with all the laws, can be very treacherous.
I walk on eggshells, and I did my time, but yeah, it's predominantly been people that I do work with, and I highly don't recommend doing that because it gets weird.
See, it's like James Joyce wrote in Ulysses, love loves to love love. So, that can get out of hand at the workplace.
It sure can, and then you gotta.
Oh, isn't it something when, suddenly things go bad, and then she's busting your stones right there in front of everybody, and they don't quite know what's going on.
Nope. And then you gotta.
Yeah.
I'm better than that. I'm not gonna air anything out, but yes, it's
What happened?
You could get I'm just saying you can get real weird with it. Just hypothetically, like if someone's busting you, I'm like, but what about when you didn't do the dishes or you slept with this guy and it was my friend, and it's nothing to do with
that's
work.
quite different.
Well, no, just hypotheticals. That's not actually what happened to me. But don't bring that stuff into work. Be professional. That's what I do.
Yeah, but that's where
But I still don't learn. But yes.
Where do you hunt your significant others? Hunt for them.
I just follow my heart,
Bars?
John. Yeah, it's downtown Manchester.
Now we're back to company picnics.
Yeah, but they don't write my paychecks. That's
They'll
the
be showing
important thing.
movies out in the park.
7 o'clock, or maybe 8 o'clock. Goonies tonight. Yes.
The Goonies.
Yep.
But is that the type of woman you want to meet out there on the street?
I said I would be there. I have never met somebody who goes to movies in the park. So we'll see what happens.
Must be terribly old-fashioned, but
You never know.
you would consider that a woman would probably be there. She'd be accompanied by somebody. But then again, after you're even in high school, the women you want always having another guy.
You gotta buy time, yes, and that's actually a fair point. Yeah, maybe not meet a single woman at the free movie night at the park, but you never know, John. You never know when the next love of your life and future ex-wife will come into your life.
Well, see, that's why you
never know.
I always find it startling when you're like on a public TV show or a radio show, and people always insist, they'll put you down if you admit you've been to a whorehouse. And, which is just a convenient thing, particularly when you're in the military and, you're not really speaking the language.
Fair.
And, they're all, I've never done such a thing like that.
They're not better than you.
No, and I actually think that they lack a certain, what are the French, je ne sais quoi, that certain thing that would have spiced up their life.
Yeah, not a menage a trois, but a yes.
Wow, I didn't have...
That's twice
After
that's
the show,
twice the price.
I'll tell you a funny
I cannot
story
wait.
about that.
I cannot wait.
I could tell it on the show, but I really don't want to.
That's all right. We'll
Because
save it for next week.
I'm a very vulgar person, and my sister watches the show, and she's always humiliated. I said, "Why do you watch my show if you hate it?"
Yeah, I try and avoid my family watching as well, but not just this show, all shows.
But
Well, I mean, it's kind of like this is me, but I do put on a bit of an act. But there's some things they open up about that it's weird at Thanksgiving and Christmas when they bring it up. You know what I mean?
bring up what?
I don't know, but hypothetically, yeah, exactly. Just that's a situation. I've never been to.
Well, that's not something you really talk to about your sister.
Well, when they're
Your mother or
listening,
somebody.
though, when they're listening to the show, though, and it's like, my family absolutely asked me about that. If they do listen, they're like, what about the what's a better way to say?
Prostitute,
Yeah, I don't think that's a better way, but regardless,
working girl.
sure, yes, a family woman, we'll say that. But yeah, it's just
I've often thought that I made a big mistake about 25 years ago. It's not that I didn't go to law school, but I didn't become a pornographer.
that was a missed opportunity on your part.
But see, I was brought up to believe that pornography is shameful and disgusting.
And look at you now.
And not politically correct. And now I think that it is the communication form of our times, particularly since AI is taking over.
How is it a communication form? Through body art?
It communicates. It communicates basic
Or like in the comments.
basic emotions and basic needs.
That's fair.
When I was going to college, they still have the combats on. You'd go into like the old Paramount or whatever it was. The stench would have knocked out a bull elephant.
I bet it was very
And
sticky.
it was disgusting. And if you could stay more, it'd be a thing like, how long can you take it? It'd be like boxing, the heavyweight champion. Can you stay in this
12
filthy
rounds?
theater
Yeah.
for 10 minutes? Or
That's
so?
I that was long gone before I was around.
But then I was on the Matt Connerton show. I used to be a frequent guest, and he mentioned something called Pornhub, and there's a lot of
A lot of money to be made there. Yes.
well, there's just good-looking young dames, and even milfs, that are younger than me, and they are.
They're
They make
cashing
those
in.
old skags and bags from the 70s. The golden age of pornography.
Hey.
Yeah, my keister.
Well, that
So
a
that's
whole
an
team.
exciting development sociologically.
Yeah.
That people are willing to strip off and do things for a few bucks.
I mean,
Broadcast themselves bare bottom.
would you rather? Yeah, you could record 1 hour.
Well, we had somebody on this show. Well, I was producing the show and directing, but
Mm-hmm.
you and Gonzo interviewed a woman that she had
Yep.
her own OnlyFans channel.
Correct. Yeah. If you can work an hour and it pays your bills for a week or a month, there's no shame in that. Absolutely not. Especially when you got kids to feed. Do whatever you got. No,
Jeez, maybe
I don't judge.
Gonzo has a career.
I think yeah. I don't know if I'd
He
personally
can
pay for that,
paint
but
on OnlyFans.
I'm not opposed to whatever. Just don't sell drugs that kill people. That's pretty much where I stand. If you got it, flaunt it. Just I have no animosity towards anyone that does that.
But it just dawned on me with the fracturing of what you'd call consensual reality that pornography is probably the common denominator. We will pick political candidates from watching pornographic videos of them in the future. How could it be worse than what we have now?
I'm not opposed to that. You really get to know them.
I
when you
don't know
watch-
how much you can get to know them because I've tried to interview performers and stuff, and they really aren't very forthcoming.
No, through the videos, not through the interviews.
Oh, okay.
But yes,
They're very wary about revealing their true selves. 'Cause I guess you have to have a lot of armor when you do something like that. And there's a lot of perverts probably posing as journalists. Not myself,
Obviously
I'm a
not.
legitimate one. Even if Joe Kelly Lavasser says I'm not. And what the hell?
you made it 36 minutes. I thought we were going to do it. I'm actually very proud of you.
Hey, I haven't said that anything about it. But how do you think society's going? What's going to happen? Look at everything that's happening. 40% of the student body at Brown University, which is Ivy League. It's not the top rung of the Ivy League, but it's an excellent
Hey.
school, very good.
I'd be
And said that they are not straight. They're this, that, or the other thing.
well.
I
Number,
mean, there's a revolution going
there's
on.
well, that's what college is for. Number one, I'd rather be a bottom rung Brown than a top. I don't know, community. Nothing wrong with community college, but nothing ill to talk about Brown. But I don't know. That's what college is for, is it not? Experiment, figure out what you like. Yeah,
I mean, excuse me, folks. I don't know. Well, I guess so.
I don't know. I went to college online. It was substantially harder for me to figure it out that way, but still haven't figured it out. I don't know. If you find something that makes you happy, just do that. It's not that hard, right?
I don't know. I'm an old
I think-
fart. I'm an old fart.
Do something that makes you happy.
I
Who
could,
cares what people think?
If it all worked out with what's her name, I'd have a son older than you now.
I'd probably be a
Who
Great
knows?
kid.
Might be at Brown University.
which
No,
is a
he'd be-
great university, by the way.
It is.
Just
I have a
not,
funny story about Brown University too.
well, you don't save all. Give him one funny story.
Well, I have a friend he's from what you call the upper middle class. His father was a physician. His mother was descended from the aristocracy in France, which there are still people that claim they're aristocrats. His grandfather had been in the French Senate, and
Just
but it's
bougie.
upper middle class. That's what they say in England. But he was American, although he's French, English, Argentine. He had 4 nationalities, and he went to Yale University. He was a brilliant guy. I worked with him. And then he got his master's degree at Stanford. That's when I met him. And he got his PhD at Johns Hopkins. But he went to Yale University. If you had the top 3 schools in the entire world, Yale would be there.
Yep.
And
Entire country or world?
the entire world. So he went to a job interview after getting his PhD because he didn't really know anything about practical life. But brilliant guy theoretically and everything. And
It was street smarts,
he
though.
No, he had not. So he would talk to me like, he says, well, what am I going to do in the interview? Because, I had a ruder life than he
Yep.
had. And I said, blah, 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 blah. Then he comes back from the interview and he didn't get a job. It was at Gorbachev's Peace Center in San Francisco when Gorbachev had, been
Yeah, he's a good
not
guy.
he wasn't really exiled, but he came to America in the 90s.
Well, he sold out, yeah.
And the woman that interviewed him was African American, and she was saying, she said to him, what is the hardest thing that ever happened to you? He says, I didn't get into Brown. And I looked at Gabe, who's been on my show. I said, you went to Yale, and you told this that the worst thing that ever happened to you is you didn't get into Brown, which isn't as good as Yale. But at the time, Brown was very chic because for some reason, Ivy League being the Ivy League. I mean, why be just Harvard and Yale, meat and potatoes when you could have been Brown in 1999?
I mean,
And I just couldn't stop laughing.
I'm not going to cry for him.
He's doing very well.
I mean, he went to Yale. Yeah, I'd assume so.
He's a professor down in Mexico City. And one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. But when you try to talk to him about politics,
Nothing.
he had all these notions, but he knew nothing about what working class people were really like.
Right.
And
Well, that's the thing. You get a nice fancy piece of laminated paper you can put on in your office or over your mantle, whatever. But
the idea that the working class is going to become a revolutionary vanguard. Granted, this was like 25 years, 30 years ago talking about this stuff, and it's like in the movie Reds, which is about the famous communist John Reed, Jack Nicholson played Eugene O'Neill, who was a famed Nobel Prize-winning playwright. And he had been an anarchist as a young man. And he says to John Reed's wife,
Can you put your phone on silent? Come on.
he said, the only thing the working man wants is not to have to work. And that's true. Talk about a revolution. They won't want to work.
I mean, I was a youthful anarchist.
why-
That doesn't pay the bills, but I don't think that's realistic. I think it should be. It's a kind of like a community. Like your neighbor helps your neighbor. Like I'll fill the potholes. You grow the I don't know, corn or whatever. It's like everyone just contributes, and it's everyone helping everyone. It's not chaos. It's not everyone fighting everyone. That's not what anarchy actually is.
See, these old mills where my grandfather and my father went to work in one of these mills when he was in high school. He went and threaded a bobbin, and then he'd go to West High School. Said it was the worst job he had, threading a bobbin. And his parents' generation had a 54-hour week. He worked 10 hours, 5 days, and then half a day on Saturday, and you didn't get paid.
That was
hardly
a luxury.
anything. So when you're talking about the work, in 1918, and he says they don't want to work. It's like,
Well, that was during
people
the,
were worked till they just dropped dead. They in their early 50s.
well, there was no
40s.
OSHA or anything. Like you,
No, nothing.
You were, God forbid you're a woman or a
They
gentleman
had-
with long hair. You get your hair caught in the spin wheel.
They had
you could get-
kids underneath the looms with combs, like getting the
Oh,
lint out. so they
I've
would
I've
get
done many
crushed.
tours.
Oh yeah.
Many tours, and yeah, that was it was a treacherous place to work, and
Yeah, people forget that there was child labor up here in the north, because everybody associate with the southern mills
Right.
and stuff.
but yeah, it was not a safe place at all, and there was a lot of casualties,
Yeah,
and also that was back then. That was one of the most polluted rivers in the country.
I was a kid.
now we're up there.
It's sad though what happened. I was just reading again. The Manchester Mill Yard was considered the most perfect complex. The Amnesty complex was considered the most perfect architectural specimen of mills in the entire world.
No kidding.
They said that when you were inside, one of those corridors, they were built, and they'd been built so what you couldn't hear any noise from anywhere else.
Nope.
And
I live in one of the mill buildings still.
they just decided to wipe them all out, And then you had the canals. Your uncle John Clayton has written about the canals,
Many
and I
times.
remember the canals. But they had put. I remember them, but one of the canals had like a metal plate over it, so that was probably preparatory to like filling it in.
Or yeah,
were
just
like
people not going. Like
so
you don't want
much
people going
closer.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much, more or less.
But see, in Providence, they had buried their canals, but then they dug them. They reopened them.
Burying was a different aspect. I never thought about that.
But,
But I get covering them. But yeah, you just don't want if they're obsolete. You don't want people, especially if hypothetically today and age, the homeless just hanging out, washing all their stuff in a stagnant canal.
well, I'm talking
that's
about
not a canal anymore.
I'm talking about a long time ago. 'Cause the New
Yeah, but
York,
if you're shutting it down, just you gotta make sure people aren't going in there.
well,
Oh,
nowadays people would be taking dumps and
That's what I'm saying.
They'd probably be, one of the things John Clayton wrote about was people would be would fall into the canals, or they try to commit suicide, and every 8 people a year would drown
Yeah.
in the canal.
it's yeah. We're trying to avoid that situation.
But they just wiped out all these great buildings because they just couldn't imagine them, and they hated what they represented, the past.
Right.
To the people of my parents' generation and my grandparents were born at the turn of this last century. My parents in the mid-20s. Those represent hell,
Absolutely.
A hellhole that you went and worked in.
Yeah, it's
Although-
70, 80, 90-hour work weeks. But now it's a luxury apartment if you try and find,
Oh yeah, they're
Someone
they're
there.
great places. Yeah.
because now it's got history and most of them
They're
are
great spaces. Hard to
Most
heat
of
though,
our-
some of them.
mine has not been redone, but most of them are. Yeah, they're beautiful places. But it's got the bricks talk. You know what I mean? They've been there for years.
Do we have a background picture that has City Hall in it? Oh yeah, well there's City Hall.
Yeah, I'm right there.
There you go. Try to find it.
I'm right there.
You know they were going
Try and
to
find
they were
it.
going to tear down City Hall, and they were just going to build like an office building, like a 1960s steel and glass block. But the New York Times architectural critic called it herbicide. The people and the Boston Globe started that you're destroying
History.
this incredible architectural
Absolutely.
gem, but they just kept destroying it. But then Paul Songus, who'd run for President in 92, won the New Hampshire primary, but Bill Clinton came in second and declared, I'm the comeback kid. And, the press said he won. He started preserving the mills in Lowell. But that was a federal thing. I don't think it wasn't until, who's our billionaire here?
Oh, you made this segue, right?
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember his name.
No. Yeah, on the spot.
Well, I didn't hear you.
Cayman.
Yeah, Dean Cayman, I
yep.
think, is the person that... Isn't he... Because I wasn't here. He's central to preserving the mills. He had bought... They gave him 2 mills for $1, and then he got 4, and he started getting the money to...
I'm glad he did.
Oh, yeah, I think they probably... I remember there was one near Granite Street where you'd go there and there was like a tree growing out.
Yeah, well, before they were renovated, it was not
amazing.
pretty, but now that they've actually people have focused on restoring and preserving
it's
them.
amazing what happened, and you think if they had been more, because on the west side they just wiped it all out for the highway.
Right.
All those mills. I always loved the mills because that red brick and the old dams and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's an aesthetic thing. It's a history thing. If I moved to like Goffstown or something and I could get probably a 2-bedroom for what I'm paying for basically a closet in the mills right now. But it's location. It's just the history and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No, don't get soaked into it. It's all right. They're still there.
Well, the arms building isn't. You know what happened at the arms building, Toucher?
Where was the arms?
It was a mill, a textile mill where Fisher Cat Stadium is.
Okay, yeah.
And in 1957, it experienced the first outbreak of anthrax
Really?
since 1911, and 4 or 5 people died. But here's one of the great ironies. And if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was actually campaigning in New Hampshire, which he's not, he doesn't have any organization or anything, I'd tell him about it. Because at the time of that outbreak, Fort Detrick, which was the biological weapons center, and what is the CDC, had developed a vaccine for anthrax, and 3 factories in the United States were the workers were inoculated with this experimental vaccine. One of them was the arms mill, and they had an outbreak of
anthrax.
But you see, the way it was spun was, well, isn't it great that we were part of that? Because when it started, these people died of anthrax, they had the vaccine and they vaccinated everybody. But they tore that building down. This would be great to have your uncle, because he'd know exactly the date.
I try my best. I know. Everyone wants John. I'm
or 71. They tore it down. And this is like 15 years after the outbreak. And they covered it with this substance. I was just a kid, like in the 6th grade or something. Formaldehyde or something. They sprayed them and they buried the bricks. And then people...
They wanted those bricks.
It's the early 70s, and people, it's like the hippie thing. You build like a bookcase with bricks and a piece of... And people went and they were taking up the bricks. And he says, no, it's been years, and they were treated, but you cannot have these bricks.
You can find another brick. But is that it's a spores that get into your lung,
yes,
and that's in it. Can't...
They said that it was because some... sheep wool from Pakistan had it.
Mm-hmm.
But the irony is that they had already had some of the factory workers inoculated with this new
Right.
virus. So I figured, hey, that'd be a neat thing to get Robert F. Kennedy wound up on. But, even though he says that he likes New Hampshire primary because it gets you one-on-one, he hasn't done any one-on-one.
We're right here.
I don't think they're going to have one-on-one much anymore.
We're right here, though. If someone wants a one-on-one, Jon Hopwood will take you one-on-one.
Well, you
I
you
could
can
too,
do
yeah,
it.
but you're far more well-versed than I am.
No, but I'm obnoxious.
No, you're cute, though.
You would be more somebody that somebody would want to talk to.
It depends on the person, I suppose. But
Depends on what if you were going to wear some decent clothes too. You don't want to come in rags with a. I'm not saying that you're in rags.
oh no, I'm wearing a bathing suit. It's fine. You can-
And
you can
at
do that.
times you've come in with woman's clothing on, but we didn't hold that against you. Like the
yeah.
jacket.
Woman's jacket. I mean, yes, I do. That's fair.
Did you get that at Savers?
Get everything at Savers. Yeah.
I
Mostly
actually
Gonzo
went
influence.
Goodwill.
I get influenced, and I have no problem saying no. So if it gives someone a laugh or a view, that's what it's all about. I have no shame in this game.
Yes, I have worn a shirt, a woman's shirt, because I needed a shirt and it fit, but you had to button it from the other side.
I will always zip or button you from the back. Don't worry about it.
Do you know why a man's and a woman's shirt button differently?
I know the zippers. No, I don't know why, but
Because in the old days, it was expected that a woman would be buttoning her husband's shirt or her son's shirt.
never have I ever.
Because women were subservient to men. It's in the Bible.
Well,
If we had a different type of show, or I'm sure there's shows here on Manchester Public TV where in different languages they teach you the truth of the Bible, which is something I've never been able to really read myself.
I have not indulged too much. I have a general idea, but if I find a significant other, I will button their shirt.
Would you ever think of joining like one of these religious groups where a woman does have to knuckle down to her man? And that might give somebody like you or I, a heads up.
No, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, they'd run away anyways.
I just don't feel comfortable. It'd give me a lot of anxiety. That's not my game. I just want you to pretend. You just pretend to love me. That's fine too. But no,
There are some cultures where you can have 4 wives, and they're the ones that go out and work and have to support you.
I mean,
How come
4 wives, 4 husbands. I don't know. If somebody wants to love me and pay my bills, I'm for it.
I could see.
But I can't
see
do that.
2 wives, maybe a third at the most, but 4 wives seems like.
If I can,
Holy
John, we can't
smokes.
get one right now.
I haven't been able to get a wife.
Yeah, we can't get one. Let's not push.
Since Lyndon Johnson was president.
I mean, semantics. I don't even know if I believe in marriage
a guy
anymore.
can dream, can't he?
Yeah, of course you can, but marriage it sounds like it's a process, and there's a lot of paperwork. As long as you're happy, again, that's really all that matters at the end of the day, doesn't it?
I actually, the first time I bought an engagement ring, I asked him, "What's your return policy?"
Wait, what do you mean first time? How many have you bought?
With a laugh, and then I had to return it. Boy, that was humiliating.
What are you? Hey, at least she didn't take it with her. And she's like, "Well, you gave it to me. And it's a gift." I was like, "Well, no, I would like that money back." That I can understand.
No, she refused it.
Okay, but still, if you wear it and then something happens and she keeps the ring, that would be frustrating.
One time I asked a woman to marry me and she laughed.
I didn't mean to laugh.
That was even worse. Then I called up like at the time like my best friend. He was a high-powered lawyer. We were like brothers. And before I could even get the entire story out, he started laughing too.
Hey, we bounce back, baby. That's all you
Hey,
can do. We're still here. Until I'm on the ground, we'll keep trying.
What would you do if you won the lottery? Did somebody win that $560 million?
I heard there was 2. The Powerball and the Mega
F-bomb.
Millions were both like the highest ever. Honestly, I don't know if I would even tell you. You wouldn't know if I knew. I mean, subtly
What would you do? I would disappear.
I would buy a normal size house and just pay that off for the rest of my life. Nothing to worry about then. I'm not gonna go buy 10 cars, 10 houses. One house, just fail safe. Take care of mom and pop.
Siblings.
Maybe Cam would get taken care of. Buy this radio station. Everyone gets a raise. People in the back, including you. And just kind of coach. Like, I don't know. I don't need to go to some fancy Eastern European country and drink wine on a fancy. I'm a simple man with simple pleasures.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
So there's somebody won. I forgot to buy the ticket.
Well, there were two. Mega Millions and I don't know, what is it? I don't know.
And all my creams have been crushed for the week because it's Wednesday.
I feel like it's the new highest ever every 3 months or
No,
every
it couldn't have
quarterly.
been because there was a $1 billion one that
Right.
I was supposed to win.
What happened? Collusion. It was
It
collusion.
came 9 miles away from where I was staying.
Really?
Yeah, and I'd done these magical rituals to bring that money to me, but I screwed up, obviously.
You gotta sacrifice at least 2 more goats.
And that person will never know it was me that got them the money.
Well, I hope. You know what? Your time will come.
Well, we're going to be followed by Norm and friends.
He might give you the
and
numbers.
psychics.
Yeah.
Right.
He might give you the
But,
numbers.
no, they never do.
Very jealous.
Thanks, folks. Next week we're going to have Patrick Long for Alderman. Not Alderman Patrick Long, but Patrick Long for Alderman.
Right.
We'll see you then. Thank you very much, Kyle, for coming.